Hello, everyone. I am Allie Wolf, the Chief Economist with Zonda, here to go through our January Builder Update. Now, many of you know I've been assigning themes or words to the months to describe what we're seeing. And for January, what I would say is outperforming. We had 52% of builders in our monthly division president survey that reported contract sales at new home communities had increased month over month. 36% of builders had reported activity was flat. And if that distribution surprises you, you have to think about the environment that we're in. We're in an environment that, as I go through the comments and I look at why builders are saying sales weren't stronger, it's exactly what you would expect. In a lot of cases, builders are saying they could sell more homes and they would sell more homes if they had more inventory available. We'll talk more about that in today's update. Now, as we look at the spring selling season, this is the most exciting time of the year in the housing market, and traditionally we look to the Super Bowl weekend as the starting point of the official spring selling season. When we talk to builders, at least in our survey, we have 40% that are saying the spring selling season is already underway. We have other builders that are saying, hey, it doesn't feel exactly like the spring selling season yet, but we still have a lot of interest in our communities. Now, as we look at the demand landscape, we know that there are some consumers who basically never stopped looking. They've been trying to buy a home over the past 3, 6, 12, 18 months, and the lack of inventory has held them back. Those shoppers are still active today, plus the rising interest rates have jolted some buyers into action. We know that there are buyers that are looking at what has happened with interest rates. Their fear is that interest rates continue to rise today, and they're looking to purchase in today's environment. And so what that's doing is creating this additional push on an already strong market. Now, as I mentioned, there are some consumers who have been trying to buy homes, but the lack of inventory has held them back. We have yet to hit bottom on both the new and resale side of overall inventory. And I'll admit it, I was wrong. I was very convinced that community count was going to bottom out. But at least as of our December data in our Zonda database, we have not yet hit bottom for total community count. We are down double digits, both compared to last year and compared to 2 years ago. And so this idea that demand remains strong, inventory has yet to improve, we now have about 90% of builders that are intentionally throttling their sales. Remember, we went through a period where metering sales had actually decreased. We only had about 75% of builders at one point in time. But as builders go into this year, still need to complete some of the homes that they started last year as the building timeline becomes longer and as the time from start to completion stretches out. Builders are having to throttle their sales again to be able to manage overall production capacity. When this is happening, what we also know is about 90% of builders are back to raising prices. So on these different updates, I used to talk about the shift to the left, meaning we had builders raising prices, but the dollar amount was going down. Now we have an increasing number of builders raising prices and the dollar amount is going back up. We know this is partly because of supply and demand, and we know this is very heavily because of rising costs. When you look at the PPI for construction, this is a measure of how expensive is it to build homes, and the input costs, how are they going? We know that input costs continue to rise, and generally speaking, as the input costs are rising, so are home prices. For now, we've seen a little bit of a shift, because at the worst of times last year, we had about 60% of builders reporting buyer hesitancy. And that's come down significantly since then. And I think there's been a sentiment shift from consumers where there used to be this fear that if I buy now, I'm buying at the top. And yet home prices continue to go up, demand continues to be strong, and interest rates are rising. And for now, there's a little bit of a fear, instead of buying at the top, there's a fear that if I don't buy today, maybe I'll never be able to buy. Now, that's not our forecast. We don't think prices only go up indefinitely, but we know that there has been a little bit of a concern because of how strong the market has been. For the biggest concerns, we know that the supply chain and labor availability have continued to grow as a challenge for builders. In particular, Omicron has been bad for the labor availability that was already constrained. And then as we see the virus spread across crews, we've had some crews have to step aside as their workers are ill and trying to stop the spread. When we're looking at the biggest worries this year, it's probably no surprise that supply chain still is at the top. We have building material availability, building material cost, and rising interest rates. So for us, we've become a little bit more cautious on our tone for where the market can go and how long we can continue to sustain such high levels of overall home price growth and to have so much enthusiasm from a buyer point of view. But our revised forecasts do continue to call for growth in housing starts, home sales, and home prices this year. Now be sure to check us out. That's all I'm going to cover today. We are doing presentations all across the country, so check our calendar of events. You can see us in person, you can join any of our virtual events, and if you'd like to learn more, please either email me at awolf@zondahome.com or visit zondahome.com. Thank you.